What's your time been like with all the quarantine stuff now that the season's over?
It's been kind of nice for us actually because we're both kind of homebodies. We love just being here and doing our normal day life. And if it hadn't been for the quarantine, we'd be running all over the place to different news stations and flying who knows where. But we get to do it all from home.
I mean, that's the easy job right there.
Exactly.
So how's the pregnancy been going? I don't know how long ago did y'all record the season?
Yeah, so the season was recorded in November, December
Mm-hmm.
2019. And it was in November that I found out for the first time and shared that with Tyler in an interview on set. So baby is due July 10th. Just entered the third trimester. Things are going great. Baby boy is healthy and kicking every day.
That's great. That's so great. Now, where I want to know, like, think back to the beginning. Where did your love for Lego come from? Where did it all start for you two?
For me, it started when I was like 2 years old. I had been playing with Duplo, and my mom got me some system bricks, and I have a vague memory of it, but it's just I had this fascination with these little tiny Lego bricks, and it just became a whole obsession from there. And at one point, my mom, I think we got a Lego set that didn't have the instructions, and I was like devastated. My mom was able to piece it together from the box, the pictures on the box, but then she told me afterwards, like, you don't have to always use the instructions. You can build whatever you want. And I think I just had this like light bulb moment that was like, oh, hey.
Without the instructions, do you remember some of the first things you ever put together?
Yeah, so during that time, I think I was getting the Lego Mania magazine, and they've got all these, like submissions from kids all over the place. And I submitted something, and I got in the magazine. I built like this dragster with all these wacky colors. I mean, it was just random colors. I was so proud of that dragster, and that the fact that it got in the magazine. I was like 7, and I was just over the moon that I was in the Lego magazine. I was famous.
So Amy, where'd you meet Tyler, and how did you get involved in this Lego Dome that he's been doing?
So we met just over 2 years ago. We got connected on eHarmony for the first time. And then we met at a local park here. It was kind of a romantic scene. There's this wooden bridge. We did not plan this at all. But he was coming from one way, I was coming from the other, and we just so happened to meet right in the middle of that bridge. And the rest is history.
I love that. So in terms of the Lego Masters, this is the first season they have ever done for the show. What was the audition process like to be a part of the show?
Initially, casting had reached out to me because they'd seen my work online and were like, hey, you should apply. We're interested. You have cool stuff. It was tricky finding somebody to go on the show with me. And eventually I was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it just because I don't really want to leave my wife for potentially 7 weeks. And they were like, well, does she want to apply too? And I'm like, she doesn't build with Lego. I mean, she's sorted Lego with me, but like she's not exactly a builder. They're like, oh, that doesn't matter. I'm like, okay.
So Tyler definitely brought me into Lego. I was definitely a newbie. And my first experiences after we got married was sorting for him in this crazy Lego laboratory you can see behind you. Everything's got to be meticulously sorted. So that was really valuable, though, because I learned all of the different pieces, and I was able to apply that knowledge when I did start building and pick up things more quickly. Once we found out we were going to be on the show, he had to put me through a serious Lego boot camp.
I would imagine, and I'm curious about the process of filming this show. There's so many different time frames that we see in each episode, up to 24 hours. Is that a true 24 hours? Did you get breaks? Like, how did that work in terms of filming these episodes and these challenges?
It is an actual 24 hours, but basically it's unionized, so you can't actually be operating legally for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's split into different days, however many work hours we could get into a single day.
Okay, that's very cool. It's very interesting. Now I know in there you had bricks up the wazoo available to you. Did they have enough for what the build you needed to do? Did they have the right pieces? Was everything there that you needed?
Yeah, we were super well supplied with the parts. I was just amazed at, some of the different pieces that we had access to in by the thousands. And sometimes a bin would run down and then almost instantaneously would be like magically filled back up again. It was just amazing to have such a variety of pieces to use in the challenge. We were very pleased.
Now, the challenges are so many different themes and so many different builds you had to do. Is there one that sticks out to you as the most memorable and something maybe you learned during the course of the show that you didn't know?
I know my favorite build was the storybook challenge when they brought the kids in and we had that wacky story we had to bring to life. I'm a piano teacher and I work with kids, so I just love that opportunity to get those kids on set. And at that point, I was feeling a little run down, pregnant, worn out, but seeing those kids and being able to work with them was a real energy boost and just very special.
Yeah, for me, I've been building like all my life, but I've been building by myself. So it was a really a fun learning experience of how do you build a single creation with another person. I've done collaborative things where two people build different sections and then you come together and it makes it one cohesive thing. But this was very different. So I think we learned a lot about, or I learned a lot about how to think about what the other person's building and how we can help each other in creating this cohesive project.
Now, your final build, the one that won you the title of Lego Masters, is going to be installed next year at Legoland New York. What is it like knowing that something you'd helped design and build is going to be in the theme park for everyone to see?
It's really exciting because we loved building that. And one of my favorite challenges was the Space Smash Challenge.
One.
Unfortunately, that build is no longer with us. So it's really exciting to see one of our other favorite builds, the final build, that's going to be preserved in such a way that other people are going to get to enjoy it, not just on the screen, but be able to walk up and see it in person and walk around it and just soak in all those little details.
And now we cover Legoland, Florida a lot because we live right down the road from there. If there was some attraction that you could design for a Legoland theme park, what do you think? What kind of ride do you think you would want to design, and maybe what theme would you choose?
Good question. We've never gotten that one before.
For me, I love the adventurers theme. Growing up, I think it would be really cool to have. I'm envisioning a ride where you kind of go through this temple and there's kind of scary stuff and different traps or things that happen, and then maybe there's like one of those like drop flume rides at the end that's kind of surprises you and there's this big drop, and then maybe a little more roller coaster adventure stuff that happens, and then you kind of like get the treasure at the end, whatever that is. I don't know what that would be, but it would be really cool.
I love that. I love that idea. So what is next for you two? What's going to happen for you now after the show? Now that you're officially Lego Masters,
Duplo. That's what's in our future. With the little guy on the way, that's probably going to be taking up most of our effort and time. But I've got some ideas percolating in the back of my brain as far as projects that I would like to do with Lego.
Now, last question I have is, a lot of kids were watching the show, mine included. My 5-year-old absolutely adored the show. What advice do you have for kids who want to get into Lego building?
I guess two different things. The first I would say is you don't have to follow the instructions. Be creative with how you use the pieces and what you create. Don't hold back and think that Lego is limited to just what comes in that box. Mix the boxes together, pour it out all on the floor, and create whatever you imagine or want to create. The other thing that I would encourage kids to do is get their parents involved. Build with your parents, build with your brothers and sisters. Lego is something that is not just for kids. It's for adults, it's for teenagers, it's for whoever wants to pick up bricks and be creative. And I would just love to see kids and parents all building together, building mega cities or fantasy castles. I think that would be awesome.
That's awesome. Well, Tyler, Amy, thank you guys so much for popping in and chatting with me. Congrats again on winning the first season of Lego Masters. I look forward to seeing that set when I head up to New York next year for the opening. So again,
Awesome.
congrats and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.